I know you had put an article on there and you said that and no one has expressed their opinion yet, and I have, but the only opinion that, you know, the townspeople have heard is that I think incorporation is either inevitable, or we're going to consolidate, or we can have annexation with Silver Lake. There's a few options. It's not just incorporation, but I myself live in Salem, and then there's Trever and there's Wilmot and other parts of the town, and I would hate to be in another part of the town that doesn't get incorporated. So as I said before, I wouldn't, you know, want to do it unless we could do the entire town. Well, it doesn't seem feasible, so if it was done within a time frame that was, you know, doable, I would be, you know, maybe, you know, interested in hearing that. Our incorporation committee has been wonderful. I mean, they've answered questions that we've had, townspeople have had, and we haven't had answers to. They really, really investigate. So a lot of information has come out that we weren't even aware of. But we have an agreement, as you know, with Paddock Lake to 2025. So we're secure for a little bit there. I've heard people ask why only 2025. Well, in fact, they only wanted to do 10 years. We got it to do the 25 years. And so I was happy with that at the time. But Silver Lake is somebody that we need to look at for very seriously in the near future. Antioch, we're secure. Bristol, we have an agreement with. So I'm for it if it doesn't. You know, I'm worried about the taxes, and because we're so big, that might not affect it in a negative way. But you know, all this has to be looked at before we do it. But honestly, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, not as a town chairman necessarily, but I feel that it's inevitable for sure. I mean, the threat isn't there immediately, but we do have to do something in the near future, whether it be consolidation, annexation, or incorporation. Yeah. 3
years ago when I ran for supervisor, I was totally in favor of incorporating for the reasons that I knew at the time. One of the biggest reason for incorporation at any point in time is to protect our borders. And I am totally looking forward to working with Silver Lake and with Paddock Lake on a variety of issues. But I think we've got an agreement in place till 2025, I believe it is, for borders. But that's going to expire, and we need to start planning for the future. But more importantly, at the time back, you know, a year ago even, was a tax increment district for creating a retail center, retail space, or now our industrial area, which we were able to, and then legislator got ahead of us in passing a law that allowed us to do the TID district, and that's going to be huge for us. That's going to be huge for the town in a lot of respects. Right now, I don't see it as that burning of an issue, and I'm real curious to see what the committee comes back with, and I've got my personal thoughts on it, but I want to see what the committee comes back with, and if the committee feels it's a good idea, we should move forward, and we'll put it to the voters. If the voters say yes, let's do it, we'll do it if there's enough opposition against it, and I've always been one to say whatever the majority wants. If there's one more person that wants it than doesn't, that's the way it's going to go. But I think it's great that we established a committee. There's been a lot of false statements, a lot of bad, wrong ideas, and I've heard it long before I even ran for supervisor. I think at this point, and we've had a little bit of feedback from the committee, but we're very anxious for them to come to us, tell us what they've come up with, what they think, and then we will look at it. And again, I fully expect to see it on at least the electors meeting, but I'm thinking it's probably a referendum, and let the people decide once they're well informed. And I always try to, and I think you've probably seen me in meetings where when a decision to be made, I always try to do my research, get as informed as possible, and then vote on what has to be voted on. It's going to be interesting. Right now, I'm really on the fence. I hate to say it, I sound like a politician, but I'm really on the fence about it. And I'm not a politician. I don't look at myself as a politician. But I'm just waiting to see what the committee comes back with. And if they've got good, sound reasons that we ought to do it, then we'll go for it. If they don't, well, we'll just let it sit on the back burner for a while.